radians in matrix, right? So, as you guys see, last week I've done a revision question on trigonometry, right? Which is what's coming out in your paper next week Monday. Alexa students. So I'm not referring to Lensa students, but Lensa students ensure that you're also doing this revision, as it will help you increase your knowledge on graphs, right? As you can see, this week I'm doing another revision question, but this is in the next section that you're writing in your paper, and this here is on your graphs. Right. Please ensure that you're focusing on your homework back as well that your teachers gave you, Alexa students, because your teacher will like to take from that homework back. So make sure you know how to do everything in the homework back. If you don't know how to do something, message me, ask me questions, and I'll help you out. Lovely. So the first thing about this whole graph and all these questions that I've written here is you need to identify which graph is for which. So if we're looking at f of x, we can see that f of x is known as our what, youngsters? Our parabola. Can you see it has a square in it, and it's in the form of f of x is equals to a into x minus b plus q. There we go there. The next one that we're looking at is g of x. So g of x is this graph here. As you can see, g of x is represented by that one going down there. And what is g of x, youngsters? As we can see, g of x is known to be our exponential graph. And there you can see your equation of the asymptote. Lovely. Now the first question that they ask us here is give us the asymptote of g. Now graphs is not a difficult section. What happens with graphs is they like to repeat a lot of things and ask you the same things over and over and over. So if you watch my videos on graphs and you ensure that you know everything in my videos on graphs, I promise you everything will be easy. So let's have a look at 6.1. So now I'm going to do all my answers on the side of the board so you guys can see. Now 6.1. What does 6.1 say? It says the asymptote of g. So if I'm looking at this specific question, we need to write down g of x. G of x is equals to 2 into 1 half x plus 1 minus 4. Right. So what do I need to do with regards to this specific thing? I need to just take out my asymptote. Now your asymptote in an exponential graph will always equals to your q value. So you must write it like as y is equals to your q value. And in this case, y will equals to minus 4. That's your answer. The equation of your asymptote. Can you see that there? Now you can go ahead on your graph that you've written here. You can go ahead and say that's at the point of minus 4. Lovely. So 6.1 is now complete. Let's have a look at the next type of question that we're talking about with regards to this here. So we're looking at 6.2. 6.2 says, give me the coordinates of D. The first thing that we need to do is we need to look on which graph is D line on. So let's go ahead and find that. Here's the point D, it's lying on my f of x graph. Once we've identified which graph it's lying on, we need to see what point is it. Is it an x-intercept, a y-intercept, a turning point, a this point, a point of intersection? What point is it? So if we're looking at the point of D, what point is that, downstairs? That's your turning point, or your toilet paper. Lovely, that's my toilet paper. Right. Now you know that that's your turning point of your graph. So you go ahead and you now say that f of x is equal to negative into x minus 3 squared plus 25. Now, you must remember that when I taught you this specific way, I told you that your turning point will always be equal to this. Change the sign of p and your q value. Right. So if I'm looking at this here, my d's coordinates is my turning point. See, in place of turning point I put d. Change the sign of p. Now we know that this is p. If I change the sign, it becomes a positive 3. And then it's my q value, so my q value is 25. So now I know that point D is 3 and 25. Can you see how simple that was? Out of 2 or 3 marks, that question will be in your paper. Quite simple, quite easy. Now you go ahead and you write it here. plus 3 and 25. So you don't ever forget it. Understand? So you don't ever do what? Forget it. Lovely. Right. Let's move on to the next specific question that we have here. 6.3. With regards to 6.3, it says the range of f of x. So we know that f of x is this, we know that our turning point is this. The first thing that I want you to remember when you come out to range in your paper is you have to think about the word redox. So you go ahead, you write out the word redox. And what does this mean? It says range always in terms of y, so always y, and docs domain only x. So let's say what's my question asking me for? My question is asking me for the range of f of x. So I know that it needs to be in terms of what? In terms of y. In terms of y, because it's range. Love. So I'm not worried about this domain at the moment. Now that I know it must be in terms of y, we need to go ahead and think of what I told you people. Remember, I told you if your a is positive, your range will always be this: y is greater and equals to your q value. Oh no, yeah, your q value. Or if a is negative, y will be less than, y will be what? Less than and equals to your q value. But now you don't write this in your paper. Hello, pay attention. Do not write this in your paper. This is the table that I told you to formulate. You now need to go and find the answer to this. And if we're looking at 6.3, it says the range. So we can see our a value is negative as it's given here, and here a is negative. So we know we have to use that one. Y is less than and equals to, and what's our q value? Our q value is 25. So we go ahead and put 25 over there, and that's our range for this specific question. Can you see? This is your answer. Please ensure that you do not write this here. You will not get any marks. You need to write this so you can get. This is a table that I've taught you youngsters in order to ensure that you get it right in your final paper. Love. So that's 6.3. Let's look at 6.4. So I'm going to erase all of this here. Just have a quick look at it. See all the answers. Lovely. Right. So with regards to 6.4, it says calculate the length of EB. So here's E over here and here's B over there. So firstly, let's talk about where is E. So we need the coordinates of E, we need the coordinates of B, and then we can actually calculate the proper length. If we don't have the coordinates, we can't calculate what? The proper length. Lovely. So let's have a look at this specific type of thing. How do we go about calculating E? If we look at E, it's on our f of x graph and it's a what intercept? It's a y-intercept. So we now need to write out our what, youngsters? Our equation of f of x. So we need to say f of x is equals to negative into x minus 3 squared plus 25 plus 25. Right, so now we've written that out. Love. Simple, quite easy for us to understand. Now that this is written out for us, what do we now need to go ahead and do, youngsters? We now need to say, because it is a y-intercept, x must equals to 0. So because we made the statement, we need to say y will equals to negative into 0, can you see in place of x, minus 3 squared plus 25. Right. So now you've done this here, you can go ahead, take your calculator out, plug it in your calculator and see what it actually gives you. So if we're looking at this here, it's going to be negative into 0 minus 3 squared plus 25. If you go ahead, it will give you 16. So now you need to write this out as a set of coordinates. So you need to go, it was 0 and 16. And then you know that there's this point. So you go here and you say that at the point of E, it's 0 and 16. Can you see? You've shown that it's 0 and 16. This here is not necessary. The reason I'm writing it in is because I'm raising my previous answers. But always go ahead and write it in. You never know when you get B. So now if you look at where B is on my geovex graph. So B is on my geovex graph. And what do I know about B? It's also a y-intercept. So I need to write my geovex is a half into x plus 1 minus 4. Then I know because it's a y-intercept, for a y-intercept I need to make x equals to 0. And then I need to solve for B's coordinates. So how do I go about this? So I say y is equals to 2 into a half into 0 plus 1 minus 4. Then you can go and plug this in your calculator and see what it gives you. So you can go at 2 into a half raised to the power of 0 plus 1 minus 4, and it gives you negative 3. So now if you write this as a set of coordinates, it gives you what here amongst this. It will give you 0 and negative 3. Now you know that there is the point of B. So you can go here at B, which is also a y-intercept, and you can go ahead and state that it was 0 and negative 3. Quite simple, quite easy, quite understandable. Now that you have E and B, it now says calculate the length of EB. So if you know that from here to the top is how many units? It's 16 units. Then from here to here it's 3 units. So now you can go ahead and say the length of EB is equals to 16 units plus 3 units, which will now give you 19 units. So the length of EB is now 19 units. Quite simple, quite easy to understand, but remember you needed to do a bit of calculation with regards to your y-intercept, your y-intercept. Remember, this can't be negative 3. Why can't it right as you say the coordinate negative 3, but it's 3 units. Remember, length can never be a negative amount. So please keep that in mind when you're working out with regards to length formulas in your papers, etc. Now we've done the method. Now it says, give us all the x values. Right. So the next question here says that give us 6.5, right? Give us all the x values where f of x is decreasing. So where f of x is decreasing. Now what is decreasing? So the first thing that we need to do is understand what it means by decreasing. So decreasing, it means this here. As your x increases, your y decreases. And remember, increasing means as x increases, y increases as well. So I'm just showing you what an increasing means and what a decreasing means. Lovely. So, decreasing, remember, as x increases, y decreases. So let's have a look at this here. If we're looking here, isn't your x is increasing and your y is increasing? Isn't your x increasing and your y is increasing? Lovely. But if we here, what happens? The graph starts coming down. So your y decreases. Can you see your y is decreasing? And your x is doing what? Your x is still getting bigger. Can you see here it's at the point of positive 3, positive 4, and so on. Understand? Lovely. So we know that from the point of and greater than 3, we can see the graph is doing what? The graph is decreasing. Now, so how do we write this out? We can say x needs to be greater than 3, and that will be your final answer. Why? Because that is where your f of x graph is now becoming a decreasing graph. Lovely. Youngsters, not such a tough question. Right, so we're done with 6.5. Now we're moving on to 6.6. Firstly, 6.6 says calculate the average gradient. So, the first thing that we know is we're going to use what? Our gradient formula. So, if we go ahead, we know what's our gradient formula. y2 minus y1 all over x2 minus x1. That's our gradient formula. So it said the average gradient. Then it says between A, points A, and it says between points B. Now we know B is what? 0 and minus 3. But do we know what A is? A is over here. It's a point of intersection, or it's also a x-intercept of any of the graphs, as you can see there. So let's work out A. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm write workings here on the side to work out A. I'm going to use my f of x graph. I think it's simpler or more easier to use. So I'm going to say f of x is equals to negative into x minus 3 squared plus 25. Lovely. And now I'm going to solve for it. Right. So, as I can see, what is my A? My A is a x-intercept. So, for x-intercept, y is equals to 0. So, I can go ahead and say 0 is equals to negative into x minus 3 squared plus 25. I can now do what? Take the 25 over and divide it out by negative, so it becomes positive 25 on the other side. Okay, let me show you what I'm doing to get a positive. Take it over, it becomes negative 25 is equals to negative into x minus b squared. Then I can do what? Divide it by a what? Youngsters, divide it by negative throughout. So it becomes, instead of distributing the negative, so it becomes 25 is equals to x minus 3 squared. Now I can do squaring over by binomial. Or I can root it and then kind of solve by let's do squaring over binomial. Gives me x squared minus 6x plus 9. Take the 25 over, make it 0. X squared minus 6x. Right, if I take this 25 back over, it becomes a minus 25. So, minus 25 plus 9 will give me around negative 16. If I'm not mistaken. Shift 5, 3, so it's 1 minus 6, and 16, negative 16. Right, so if I go in and I solve for this here, x will equals to minus 2, x will equals to positive 8. Now obviously we want the minus, so we know that this is going to be minus 2 and 0. Lovely. Right, are we done, youngsters? No, we are not yet complete with the question. We still need to do what? Actually find out the average gradient of it. So, with regards to this here, I've now solved for x. I now use minus 2 because it's minus 2 plus 8 divided by 2 is around 3. Lovely. So it's fine, right? So I know that these two are correct. I now plug it in. Now I need to label them. If I label them x1, that needs to be y1. This will be x2, this will be y2. Now I do the gradient formula. So now I'm actually answering the question. Minus 3 minus 0 all over 0 plus 2, which will give you what? Negative 3 over 2. Lovely. So now you see how to calculate your average gradient. All you do is you need the set of coordinates and you do your normal gradient formula. But remember, to get this coordinate A, you needed to calculate either your point of intersection if you wanted to do it that way, or you could do the x-intercept of this graph, or you can just do the x-intercept there, or you could use symmetry as well, right? Or you could use your what? Your symmetry as well. And that's how you get your average gradient over there. Lovely. Then we move on to the next one, which is quite a simple question. 6.7. It now says if f of x becomes f of x plus 2, so all you do is you take your f of x graph and you write e of x is now equals to what is f of x? It's negative into x minus 3 squared minus 3 squared plus 25 plus 2. So now it becomes negative into x minus 3 squared plus 27. It now says, after you've done this, see, whenever f of x was, you just put the f of x down, you get 2 to it, done. Write down the turning point of p of x. So now you need to write the turning point of p of x. Isn't it going to be change the sign of p, like how we done in the previous, so it's going to be 3 and the q value which is 27. So basically what they done there was shifted the graph 2 units up. Lovely. So that's a revision question on graphs. Please ensure that you do the homework. And I hope